behalf of the City of Independence, I welcome each of you to the attendance, as well as those who are watching this meeting on City 7. Today's date is August 13th, 2024. For those who are unfamiliar with our meeting, it's the responsibility of this commission to hold public hearings and make recommendations to the City Council of matters relating to zoning and land use changes within the city. We also consider and make decisions on plats, special use permits, and other issues, as well as changes in code and policies that relate to city planning. Our procedures for each case are as follows. First, the applicant will be recognized to speak. Second, those who are in opposition will have a chance to speak. Then, if there's any opposition or questions from the public, we have that. Then after that, the commissioners will have their opportunity to discuss, and finally, the commission will render a decision. So, because this is only public hearing of the cases on the agenda tonight, all those who wish to speak will be heard. All comments and questions should be addressed to the chair, not directly to the applicant or staff. The chair also requests that statements be kept brief and on point, and that the statements has already been made by previous speakers. Please do not repeat it. Simply indicate your agreement of each matter. Now, to expedite the meeting, anybody who wishes to speak tonight, would you please stand and raise your right hand? So anybody who wants to speak tonight, plans on it.
Roll call.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the whole truth before this commission? If so, say I do.
I do.
Okay, thank you. You may be seated. Okay, let's stand and do the pledge. Okay, at this point, we're going to do a recognition of our past, our chairperson. I'd like Cindy McLean to please come forward. She has been on this commission for years. I don't know how long. She was here when I came. She's done a wonderful job. We appreciate all her work she's done. I think the mayor is coming up to present something at this time, too.
Cindy, on behalf of the City Council, we give you this proclamation in recognition for all the work you did for the Planning Commission. And I know personally, and I know all of you can attest to this, they did a great job. You know why? No one ever called me to complain. And no news is good news, right? In this business, no news is good news. And you did an extraordinary job in all the work that you did on behalf of the city, and just a great job you did over that entire time. So, if I can just read a little bit of it. Whereas Cindy McLean has demonstrated an exceptional willingness to serve the community of Independence, Missouri with dedication and selflessness. And whereas Cindy McLean's diligence in her role as chair of the Planning Commission has been exemplary, ensuring thoroughness and meticulous attention to detail in all planning matters facing the city. And whereas Cindy McLean has displayed a masterful skill for details, carefully evaluating the planning, proposals, and applications of the cities and for the city's best interest. And whereas Cindy McLean, compassionate leadership, and I've been a recipient of your compassionate leadership, so thank you. But your compassionate leadership has fostered inclusivity, understanding, unity among the members of the Planning Commission and throughout our city. And whereas, through your tenure, Cindy McLean has upheld absolute integrity, making decisions guided by principles of honesty, transparency, and fairness. And whereas Cindy McLean's boundless energy and passion for improving our community, and it is truly beyond boundless. There is no question the work that she has done for our city. You have inspired positive change and progress in the city of Independence, Missouri. And whereas you've been a faithful servant, your leadership, dedication, and extensive experience have been significant in contributing to the shaping the Planning Commission and advancing the development efforts of the city. And therefore, as Mayor of Independence, I also, you get a gavel with a plaque from the City of Independence showing that you were on the Planning Commission from 2015 to 2024. And this is the remembrance of us, and I hope you don't forget us, and we cannot say thank you enough for your service. So thank you.
Very nice.
Anybody else want comments?
Cindy, on behalf of Heather Wiley, she wanted me to send you a big thank you for what you meant to her through this example on the Planning Commission. She is in the emergency room. She probably wouldn't like me saying that, but she wishes she could be here, and just wanted to say thank you. And then on my behalf, I just want to say sitting near you on the Planning Commission was just an honor, although way too brief. But I have had many of my adult years to be able to watch you and to learn from you and to see just the love you have for your adopted hometown. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Cindy. I know you're probably going to do other things for the city, so you'll keep on working, I know. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Okay, let's do roll call.
Commissioner Ashbaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson.
Here.
Commissioner O'Neill.
Present.
Commissioner Torres.
Here.
Commissioner L. Wiley.
Here.
Commissioner Young.
Present.
And Vice Chairman Nesbitt.
Here. And if you do know, we got a new face up here tonight. We got Michael Young down here, a new commissioner. So I appreciate him coming in. Okay, let's consent agenda. Everybody gone over it?
Sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move that we approve the consent agenda and the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay. Take a vote.
Commissioner Ashbaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill.
Yes.
Commissioner Torres.
Yes.
Commissioner Wiley.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
And Vice Chairman Nesbitt.
Yes. Okay, we got cases to be continued. I need a recommendation or,
Vice Chair,
yes.
I make a motion to continue case number 24-100-12, rezoning at 21101 East 78th Highway.
Second.
And that's to the September 10th, 24 meeting.
Yes.
Correct?
Okay, take a vote.
Commissioner Ashbaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill.
Yes.
Commissioner Torres.
Yes.
Commissioner Wiley.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
And Vice Chairman Nesbitt.
Yes. Okay, that passed. Want to do the next one?
Mr. Vice Chair,
Yes.
I move that we continue case number 24-150-01, the Comprehensive Plan Amendment, 21101 East 78th Highway.
Okay, and that will be moved to the September 10th meeting also.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay. Take a vote, please.
O'Neill. Okay. Commissioner Ashbaugh.
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill.
Yes.
Commissioner Torres.
Yes.
Commissioner Wiley.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
And Vice Chairman Nesbitt.
Yes. Okay, that passes. Okay, let's move us on to public hearings.
Mr. Vice Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to move to suspend the rules temporarily, and if I get a second, I'd like to speak to it, please.
I'll second that.
Okay.
I'd like to suspend the rules and move the agenda item, election of officers, to occur now instead of waiting till the end. And the reason I want to do that is we're not sure who is going to be in which office. And this meeting would be a good time for that person to learn what they need to do before with the next meeting, because the next meeting is going to be a little more potentially contentious, and that way that person would get some experience. So my motion is to do the election of officers now, and then continue with the agenda as written.
Okay, we got a motion and a second?
I second that.
Oh, it's already been seconded?
Oh, it has.
Yes. Yes. So let's take a vote.
Okay.
Or does anybody else want to comment? Okay. Go ahead and take a vote.
Commissioner Ashbaugh,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Commissioner Torres, Commissioner Wiley,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Nesbitt.
Yes.
Commissioner, Vice Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to nominate Lori Dean Wiley to be presiding chair.
I would second that.
I would like to make a motion to have, can we have 2 people on there?
Yes.
Okay, I would, Edward Nesbitt to be chairman, and Eric to be vice chair.
That would be separate. We'll do the first one first, chairperson.
Okay. Okay. We've got 2 people then.
Okay. So we got motions for 2 different people. So anybody got any comments? They already been seconded.
Was there a second?
Second.
Virginia second, I believe.
On the second one. Okay.
Okay. So no comments. How are we going to take a vote?
Point of inquiry. Yes, how do we do a vote with 2 separate names?
Mitch, do we do each one separate? Is that how we do that?
You mean for the vote?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do this. I'd go ahead and do it that way. It's cleaner.
Okay. So we just go with the first one that was,
It doesn't really matter. I'd probably go with whoever was nominated first and then go to whoever's nominated second, but
okay.
So we're going to go with Laura Dean Wiley first. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Vice Chair, I don't think we voted on the second motion.
We haven't voted. Well, there's been a motion to vote for them. So I'm saying we're going to vote for the first one first. That's been seconded. Correct?
Okay.
Mr. Vice Chair, a point of
Yeah.
order.
Yes.
We, on the second motion, we did not vote. The second motion was to nominate you for that position.
Well, we didn't vote on the first one either.
Yes, we did.
We did?
Well,
No.
No, there was a nomination
This
that
is
was
a nomination.
seconded, moved and
That's second.
seconded, and then Virginia seconded, which is, I believe, is that
Correct.
correct?
That's correct.
Staff.
Yes.
We begin with the vote of the first nomination?
Correct.
Okay. Commissioner Ashbaugh,
What's the question?
Yeah.
Brian, go ahead and whoever was nominated first,
Right.
say we are voting for this individual first, and then go through the roll call.
Okay.
And then you can tally the votes then, and then do the second person, and then tally the votes that way. That'd be the cleanest way to do it, I think, and the most open.
So the first vote was for the nomination of
Laura Dean,
of Wiley,
yes,
yes, as chairman.
chairperson. Chairperson, yes.
Yes, as chairperson. So we'll go through the vote first for that. Okay. Commissioner Ashball,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson,
No.
Commissioner Nesbitt,
No,
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Commissioner Torres,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiley,
Yes.
and Commissioner Young.
Nope.
So we have 4 yeses and 3 nos for the nomination of Wiley as chairperson.
correct. Second motion,
We'll go through the second motion now. For Nesbitt
right.
as chairperson. Commissioner Ashball,
No.
okay. Commissioner Ferguson,
Yes.
okay. Commissioner Nesbitt,
Yes,
Commissioner O'Neill,
No.
Commissioner Torres,
No.
okay. Commissioner Wiley,
No.
and Commissioner Young.
Yes.
So we have 4 noes and 3 yeses for the nominee Nesbitt to be chairperson, and it appears that Wiley won the nomination.
Thank you. I'd like to make a nomination for vice chair of Eric Ashlaw.
I'll second that.
Okay, are there any other nominations? Okay, so this one's it. Okay, Commissioner Ashball,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Yes.
Commissioner Nesbitt, Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Commissioner Torres,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiley,
Yes.
and Commissioner Young.
Yes.
And we had 6 votes in favor of Wiley and 1 against, and no other
no,
nominees.
not Wiley.
Ashlaw.
That's right, Ashball, sorry.
Okay.
And, and no other nominees, so Ashball is vice chairperson.
There you go.
Should we take a recess and move things around? Or not?
I would leave that up to the new chairperson.
I think from a standpoint of viewing on video and running the meeting, that we probably should take a short recess and realign the
names.
dais.
Okay.
Chairperson Wiley, you might want to tell, it might be a good idea to tell everybody how long.
Let's take 5 minutes recess. Thank you. All right, we have a continued case to review. No, so the first case for the public hearing on our agenda tonight is a continued case 24-12508, rezoning PUD at 2710 South Westport Road. Staff, could you give us a report?
Yeah, again, this is a rezoning case, PUD 24-12508 for 2710 Westport Road. Applicants are Rosemary and Robert Hoover. As you can see from the vicinity map here, the green line going across diagonally, that's Westport Road, and this is located on Westport Road, just south of 27th Street on the northwest side of the street there. And the request, of course, is to rezone from the current single family to R6, which is single family, or R6 PUD, which is single family residential planned unit development. So looking at the aerial photo, although the property lines aren't completely aligned here on the aerial photo, there are 4 buildings on the property. Actually, one of the accessory buildings does cross the property line a little bit, but the applicant owns the property to the north as well. But the residential properties, the 2 residential units that we will be speaking of that exist on this property are north of the gravel driveway there, one up front, the front of the road, and then one behind that. So this is the zoning map, the area. I could have blown that out a little farther. For a number of blocks, it's zoned R6 single family, so it's in the middle of a single family residential neighborhood. And the comprehensive plan, of course, sees this as a residential neighborhood as well. So this is this PUD site plan is basically an existing conditions plan and shows the existing layout, driveways, and structures that are on the property. The 2 houses north of the asphalt and gravel driveway, and then the accessory buildings that are farther back on the property. So this is a request by Rosemary and Robert Huber to rezone the property from R6 to R6 PUD and to approve a preliminary development plan, which is the existing condition. Property history. Prior to the property being zoned R1 in 1965, the property had 2 single-family residences on it. The legal nonconforming use was maintained for many years, and including where the current owner, Mr. Hoover, had requested and received a letter of legal nonconformity. Subsequent to then, a tenant occupied the unit without power, or one of the units anyway, without power for more than 6 months, and negating the legal nonconformity that would allow 2 units to be on that property. Thus, the property may now contain only 1 single-family residence. In March of 2023, the applicants made an identical application to the one before you right now. The application recommended by the Planning Commission was recommended by the Planning Commission, but was denied by the City Council. Given the deliberations by the City Council and the content and tenor of testimonies given last year, staff will not be recommending approval of this new application. In addition, after the denial of the applicant's PUD case in 2023, the nonconformity of the property has not yet been corrected, and an active violation on this property is being adjudicated and has been continued to November. Again, as far as the proposal, to occupy the rear residence requires zoning designation allowing 2 residential structures, and a use not allowed in an R12 duplex district and only permitted in R18 PUDs, which would be a planned apartment district. So both districts would not be a desirable. However, an R6 PUD could be tailored to allow the property to have two single-family structures on it, but wouldn't allow multifamily structures. The property's depth is roughly twice that of its width. The principal house at the front of the lot sits approximately 80 feet off the right-of-way to the north of the existing asphalt driveway, which cuts across the length of the lot. The other house lies to the west of the front residence by about 45 feet. Further west, the 2 garages lie to either side of the driveway at the northwest and southwest corners of the property. Most of the southern portion of the property between the southwest garage and the roadway is just a large expanse of lawn. As far as the characteristics of the area, the house sits in a neighborhood which was largely constructed in the 1950s. The house located immediately to the north is a split level with a 2-car garage. Across the street is a large ranch with a side entry garage, and a small white house lies to the south. All these surrounding residences set on large lots. As far as the consistency with the Independence for All strategic plan, the objective of the Independence strategic plan is to build new housing units to fill a market need. Although this application does not result in more housing units, it does request to preserve a second residence on the lot. Comprehensive guiding land use principles. This site, along with all the properties in the vicinity, is designated as residential established neighborhoods by the city's comprehensive plan. Such areas feature a variety of single-family detached homes, duplexes, and multi-family dwellings within that comprehensive plan category. As far as historic archaeological sites, there aren't any apparent at this location. This being a infill site, all the public utilities are already in place. There are no CIP capital improvements projects currently planned for this area. As far as the zoning, as noted previously, this site has had single-family zoning since 1965. Permitted R6 uses, of course, include single-family homes as well as things like churches, schools, home-based daycare centers, government buildings, parks, gardens, field crops. If zoned with the PUD or that PUD designation added to that, then there could be flexibility possibly for the number of units on the lot, and that's their request. The existing legal non-conforming driveway is not being expanded. So we'll go through the pictures here. And this is that driveway I was talking about that runs directly due west of Blue Ridge. So it's a paved asphalt driveway. And as I said earlier, the house goes back quite a ways. This is looking southwest on Blue Ridge, and you can see the large front lawns that people have along this area and the low density there. And you look across the street, you can see this as a very low dense neighborhood, very single family in its design. And looking up to the north there, the same. And then this is from the southeast corner of the property, looking across that lawn area, looking at the main house up front, and then the other structures on the property there farther to the west or the back line. As far as the recommendation goes, staff does not recommend approval of this rezoning preliminary development plan request. But if it were approved, the following conditions should be included with the preliminary development plan. Number one, the number of dwelling units in the existing building, excuse me, I'll start it again. The number of dwelling units in the existing buildings is limited to the 2 existing single-family units. And that concludes my presentation. I'm ready to take any questions you may have.
Any questions? All right, would the applicant please step forward? Share your name and your address for the record, please.
I'm Rosemary Hoover, and our address is 3365 Blue Ridge Boulevard. My husband Bob and I own the property at 2710 Westport Road, and this is our second application for rezoning of this one single lot. On the first application, this committee council approved our application and passed it on to City Council, where it was denied. 2 things went wrong with that first application. The first one was that I did not do enough research ahead of time to know exactly what code emblem I was asking for. Mr. Barker graciously helped me and walked me through the application process and helped me fill out the application form. And I had asked him, I need a code that will allow me to retain the 2 single-family houses that are on the property. I need a code name that will accommodate those. And he said, well, an R18 PUD would do that. And I, not knowing any different, took his word for it, and he helped me fill out the application, and we wrote down R18 PUD. He was right, that zoning would accommodate the 2 houses, but it also would accommodate an apartment complex, which was not in the plan at all. And he recognized his own, my error when he forwarded the information and made the committee report, the staff report to the commission. And so he corrected it to be exactly what I needed to ask for, which was the emblem R6 PUD, which is what we're asking for this time and what was actually on the report last time. However, the paperwork had already been published. The engineer that did the drawings saw the report that was where we were asking for an R18 PUD. The publishing article in the paper had that on there, and I can't help but believe that it possibly had some bearing on the final decision that was made by the City Council to deny the request for the rezoning. That was the first thing that went wrong with the first application, my lack of preparation ahead of time. The second thing that went wrong with the first application was that there were some derogatory remarks made in one of the, I think this discussion happened in this meeting, like this a year ago when this was first brought before the public for a hearing. And as far as I know, and I wasn't here, other family members were, that there were no derogatory comments or there were no problems cited by any of the adjoining residents, anybody that would be affected or pertain to this case at all. No tenants. The bulk of what was mentioned were criticisms by Wesley Epperson. He is on the Beautify Independence Committee, and he does it well. He does a good job, and if you drive by the beautiful place where they live, the house is a large, well-maintained, beautiful house, beautiful facility. The yard looks like it came from Better Homes and Gardens, and he is a great example of what beautiful independence should look like. The criticism that he gave us was that we did not keep things as neat as they should be. Some of his criticism may have been justified. Some of it was exaggerated, and some of it was old cases that had been settled. We've been around since 1959 when we bought our first duplex in Independence, moved into one end and rented out the other. And for these whole 65 years, we have helped provide rental housing for the residents of this city that we all love to live in. The fact of the matter is the city is full of thousands and thousands of blue-collar, hard-working, honest people who will never live in a house like Mr. Epperson's. Most of the people that come into our city as young people with new jobs and new families need a place to rent for a while so they can get their nest egg together, and many of them will and do become like Mr. Epperson. All of them are citizens of this beautiful city and can make their contributions. I know there's a group that would like to do away with all rental housing and make everybody homeowners, and that would be wonderful. That would be utopia. That would be the perfect solution. But the reality is we're going to always need rentals. And I've noticed that people don't play well together anymore. And so they don't like apartment complexes as duplexes and things like that, as well as they like single-family dwellings. And we have single-family housing. And we, through these 65 years, have supplied a lot of people in this city with affordable, comfortable, safe housing. Now, we've had to work together with the codes departments, and they keep us in line, and we try to comply by everything. Fact of the matter is, you don't have a lot of control over the behavior of other human beings. We can make suggestions and we can influence, but there are those limitations with what we can do. As one of the code officers said, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and so is ugly. As we look at this letter this report that was written by the staff, and Mr. Harker has prepared for us, and Mr. Harker, thank you for the presentation on the screen. That was good. I've never seen that before, and that was good. The proposal that follows the paragraph that we just talked about is that stated this way: to occupy the rear residence requires a zoning designation allowing 2 residential statures. An R6 PUD can be tailored to allow the property to have 2 single-family structures, but no multiple family structures. That's what we need, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we ask for. That's what our requirement is. We have only 2 options. One is to deny this proposal and knock down a perfectly good house, devalue a landowner's property, and kick out perfectly lovely family into the street trying to find another safe, economical, two-bedroom, homey house for $650 a month. The tenants in both of these houses have been there a long time and have been assets to the community and the neighborhood. And I request respectfully that the planning staff would revise the recommendation to the zoning of the lot in question, and that they would ask the city council to approve our request this time. Now, I know the city council doesn't always do what you ask. We discovered that last time. But I do know that one of the things that they publish to all of us who make requests is a 7-point set of criteria, 7 criteria that they use when they make their decision. Number 7 of the bullet points is this: the recommendation of the city's professional staff. And I would respectfully ask that you would help us in this project of changing the zoning to our lot in question. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Would you stay there? Any questions for her from the commission? All right, seeing none, thank you. Is there anyone present who would like to speak in favor of this request? Seeing none, is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? All right, I'm going to close this hearing. Any final questions for the staff?
Brian, is there any more information that you can give us why the city is not wanting this to exist?
So are you asking why our recommendation is now for denial?
Yeah, I just want to know. I mean, you gave your report and you read. I just didn't know if there was any other information you could shed
I
on
mean,
this.
I think paragraph I provided here basically states it, that after the denial, given the deliberations that were made here in public hearing as well as in council, that's a basis of our reasoning that it should be recommended for denial now.
That was, according to her testimony, one person. So is there more
No, well,
info that you can shed on,
I don't think it's
because I wasn't here.
I don't think it's based upon one person, but it was, I mean, it's based upon the deliberations of what the council did during their hearing, and also what came out in public hearing previous to that, with people coming up to the mic. I don't think it was based upon one opinion or one source.
Anyone else? Staff, I do have one question. In my reading, it looked like maybe there was a time period where there was not electricity or heat.
Yeah, and that's the other item I wanted to bring up. There are open violations on this property, so we generally don't like to go forward with rezonings with properties that have open violations as well. So,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for sharing that information.
Anyone else?
Madam Chairman,
Applicant, would you like to come back forward?
yes, please. I know problems. I believe your question in the beginning was, why did the city council go against the recommendation of this body, right? Rather than why did this body change their mind this time?
Well, according to what you said, there was like one person. That's why I was asking. So if there's other violations, do you know about those, what those violations are?
I'm not sure, and I don't know of any other people that expressed a problem. His was at least the one that carried the weight.
Okay. If I remember,
I'm sorry.
my fault. Go ahead and finish your thought.
I watched the video of the city council meeting, and there was not a single objection in the city council meeting. It was, the first part was where they asked for, is there new information? And Mr. Harker said rightly, there is none. We didn't know how any of this worked. But then in the second part of the meeting, when they deliberate and make their decision, there was no discussion, there was no open opportunity to speak. Nobody did speak for or against. There was no discussion in that meeting that recorded on the tape, the whole tape. All it was a roll call, and it was 7-0 to not accept the application. And to answer your question, I don't have any idea why it was knocked down after the recommendation of city planning, who are the people who are out there and know the projects and know what's going on. And the city council should listen to them.
Chairman,
to you.
I think I had already closed the public hearing.
I agree. I was just going to gavel that down. We wanted to give you an opportunity to address the code violations, and you are not aware of any?
Not on that property, no.
All right. I'm ready for a vote.
Madam Chair, I
Yes.
recommend we approve the motion to rezone on case number 24-125-8, rezoning from, rezoning from R6 to R6 PUD.
Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. Call the vote.
Commissioner Ashbaugh,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson,
No.
Commissioner Nesbitt,
No.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Commissioner Torres,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiley,
No.
and Commissioner Young.
No.
On continue case 24125-08 rezoning, that motion has been denied. The next case for the hearing is short-term rental, case number 2440016 at 601 South Main Street. Staff, could we please have your report?
Yep. This STR at 601 South Main Street, the applicant is Nicholas Brady. This short-term rental is located on Main Street, just south of the square, about 3 blocks, as you can see on the vicinity map on the overhead. So, go through the floor plan here. This is the first floor for the home. See kitchen, bedroom, dining room, living room, bath, and a front porch and entry there. And then the safety plan showing how to vacate those different rooms and get to the front porch there off the entry. Parking land plan here. There's area here shown. It's not shown on the drawing, but there could be street parking, at least for one vehicle there on Main Street. Pacific, no parking is permitted. There's a garage on the property that could be the location for parking a car. And then if they provide the requested paved parking surface in the backyard, they're showing potential for 3 additional vehicles back there. So this is the notification map. This is a corner lot there at the southeast corner of Pacific and Main. And so includes houses around that corner there and the large property to the south as well. Short-term rentals. So you can see there's an existing one nearby, but it's outside of that loop. There to the northwest before you, between Liberty and Osage. Background, the applicant seeks approval by the Planning Commission to legally use this property as a short-term rental. As far as the property history, the location was part of the original plat for the town of Independence, established back in 1827. The residential property was replatted in 1845 as Lot 13 of the Joseph Hansborough subdivision. In 1965, the land was zoned to R4 and was designated for multifamily residences. In 1980, the rezoning remained R4 and was designated for high-density residences. In 2009, when the current version of the UDO was adopted, the zoning was updated to R30 PUD high-density residential. And then in 2009, we had one of our city-initiated rezonings along the South Main Street area, changing this neighborhood to R6, single-family residential, and zoning has remained unchanged since then. As far as the physical characteristics around this property, the single-family residence sits on a lot that's 6,228 square feet in size. The structure is 1,700 square feet and consists of 2 floors, an unfinished basement, and a single-car garage. The main floor has the living room, dining room, kitchen, bathroom, and 1 bedroom. The second floor consists of 3 bedrooms and a full bathroom. The exterior of the house has a brick facade on the first floor and white siding on the second story. The front of the house has a covered front porch. It has a 1-car garage on the north side of the property there off Pacific, as we saw. As far as the characteristics of this area, the area surrounding the property features other single-family residences of similar size and design, although there's some larger ones to the south. The property abuts a church to the east and sits across Main Street from one, and there are 3 churches within 300 feet of the subject property. The Woodlawn Cemetery is located 2 blocks to the east across Nolan Road from the subject property, and to the north sits the Bryan House, which is a historic landmark. Parking. The garage can accommodate 1 car, and there is enough street frontage to accommodate 1 vehicle in the front of the house. The applicant has indicated there are 4 bedrooms in this structure. City code requires lodging users to provide a minimum of 1 parking space per room. The applicant will need to provide 2 additional spaces to conform with this city code. As far as dealing with unruly guests and security issues, the property owner lives in Cypress, Texas. They have indicated Veronica Bolton with Cleaning Mains In and Out LLC will serve as the responsible agent for their short-term rental. Property management will be held by LaShawn Johnson with Evolve Vacation Rental Network based out of Denver, Colorado. Short-term rental requirements. The applicant must address the following topics. Noise monitoring. The applicant will need to provide evidence of the installation of a continuous noise monitoring device. They have indicated plans to install a room monitor, a noise alarm, or similar product. Research on room monitor indicates it is a continuous noise monitoring system that provides real time. Trash removal. Well, trash pickup is scheduled as a weekly service on Thursday to be picked up by Republic Services. Property listing. The property will be listed on Airbnb, Booking.com, and various other websites monitored by Rentalscape. Business operations and security. The applicant will oversee site security and general business operations, including screening customers and coordinating bookings. City's short-term rental checklist. The form was completed by the applicant, covering the licensing, future inspections, insurance, and on-site information posting, and so forth. Fire safety. A fire safety evacuation plan has been submitted along with the floor plans for the house. The fire escape plan must also be posted per code requirement. City inspection. The property must be inspected by the fire inspector and has to pass the initial short-term rental fire and safety inspection. So here's some photographs showing the property. So the sign's right out front there, so it's a corner one there. And this is looking a little bit closer at it on a different day. Okay, this is that backyard area where that pull-off area would need to be constructed, that paved pull-off area for paved off-street parking that is needed. This is looking south on Main, just across the street from the house. And then this is the church across the street to the west. And then this is looking back down on the north side of the property, but looking east down Pacific toward Nolan Road up the hill. And this is facing south, looking directly at the property across Pacific. Recommendation for case 24-116. Staff recommends approval. Number one, the short-term rentals shall obtain a business license pursuant to Chapter 5 of the City Code. And number two, the short-term rental operators shall remit transient guest tax to the city and comply with the operational standards outlined in Article 3 and Chapter 5 of the City Code. Number three, the business must comply with all the safety and other standards established by Section 14-424 of the City Code. Number four, the maximum occupancy of the premises shall be limited to 8 total persons. Number five, the maximum number of bedrooms shall be 4. Number 6, the noise monitoring system shall be installed and activated meeting City Code, the Good Neighbor guidelines, evacuation plan, and other notices must properly be posted and must be prior to approval of the business license. Number 7, the property must be inspected by the fire inspector and pass the initial short-term rental fire and life safety inspection prior to the issuance of the business license. Number 8, 2 additional parking spaces shall be added on the property to satisfy parking for the number of bedrooms prior to approval of the short-term rental license. The existing garage on the property shall be made accessible to all guests. Permit applications per city code must be submitted and approved for this work. And number 9, the residential building permit shall be submitted and approved by city code for remodeling work done to the structure requiring a building permit prior to the issuance of the short-term rental license. And that's the presentation.
All right, any questions for staff? I do have one. Is there a condition in which the additional parking is not available, that the number of bedrooms available for use would also be reduced? Or are we only allowed?
We didn't spell that out here. I suppose you could if you wanted to, but
I guess we'll find out when the applicant comes forward. Any additional questions? All right, would the applicant please come forward? Please state your name and your address for the record.
Sharon Brady, 19503 Navidad Bend Court, Cypress, Texas, 77433.
Sir, are you going to speak as well?
He might.
Only if you make me.
Have you both been sworn in?
Yes.
All right, and your name, sir?
I'm Gerard Brady. I'm her husband.
And your address, please, for the record.
19503 Navidad Bend Court, Cypress, Texas, 77433.
All right, if you would just make sure if you do speak that you switch and get in front of the microphone, that would be great for our recording. Thank you. What should we know about this?
This property is our son's first venture into real estate. He's 25 years old. He's working and doing very well, but he's very busy, but he's very interested in real estate. So as we are, entering our golden years, we have more time and experience with this to help him with it. So I've been working with the staff on the contractors on getting all the work done and reviewing it and making sure it's, meeting our criteria. We love to fix up old homes. We're enjoying this immensely. And we met the lovely lady who owns the beautiful home right across the street, met her yesterday. We're just here to support him, make sure that we're going to be good neighbors and monitor everything and learn as we go, but I think we have it under control. We've addressed all the issues. We have lots of processes in place to make sure that we meet all the requirements of the city to be that good neighbor and also bring guests to Independence where they're going to start to enjoy the city, learn about the history of it, and help you guys do well and continue to develop the lovely town we've experienced.
All right, any questions for the applicant?
Yes, I do. So basically, about the parking issues, are you able to take care of that issue, or what's the plan?
Yes, I already have bids in place, and we're ready to go. All we have to do is get utilities marked and move forward with it once we get the permitting from the city and approval to move forward with it. So we have it mapped out. We have enough space to do it. Met with a landscaper today, too, to make sure that we can landscape around it and help it fit into the community and look beautiful at the same time.
What about the garage?
The garage can handle a small truck or a small sedan. We'll have a garage door opener on it and a keypad on the outside so that our guests can access it and put their car in the garage if they want to. We feel like probably with the style of the home that most of the guests are going to be maybe coming in to visit the temple, or they're going to be families, so we really don't expect too many vehicles. I do have permission from the church behind us. It's not in writing, they didn't want to do that, but they said, you know, the residents of that, of our home have been parking there for years, and there has never been an issue. In fact, there's an opening in the fence that's been there forever to access the back of the home. So they said, you can park there, we don't have a problem with it, but we're providing the paved parking that the city wants us to do.
Okay, now, are you gonna make it note that they cannot park, I think it's not Main Street, but the other street, they can't park on that street, is that correct?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And we will have cameras on there so that we can supervise it and make sure that there's no issue. And in fact, when I met with the neighbor yesterday that lives across the street, Ms. Barr, I gave her my business card that has my husband and I on it and both of our cell phone numbers. And I said, please, if there's anything ever that you think we need to be aware of, here's my number, call us anytime. And I will make sure that we take care of everything.
Okay. So you're good with the 4 bedrooms, 8 people total?
Yes, that's what our intention is. I don't know if we'll actually have 8 people in it, but it is a 4-bedroom home.
Okay. And no problem with the monitoring system and all that?
I'm sorry, what?
The monitoring system? No
Yes,
problem?
we'll be putting that in place. We're just waiting to make sure we get approval before we start spending more money on the project.
Okay. I just want to go through these, make sure you understood all the things staff put down, all the recommendations have to be done and everything.
Absolutely.
My only other question is, you have down a cleaning service as the,
Well, actually, I have a gentleman, and somehow, I guess, they didn't update. I sent it to him probably a week ago or 10 days. Maybe they didn't get the email updating because I understood they had a little issue with the cleaning service being the responsible agent. So I have a friend that's doing it, a gentleman.
okay, do we have his name on file and number then?
And I can resend it to him.
Brian?
Yeah, we'll have it for the license.
Okay,
Okay.
that's all I have, thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you. Will those persons who wish to speak in favor of the applicant please step forward to the podium and give your name and address for the record? Please remember to address all comments to the chair. Keep them brief and on point. If your statement has already been made, please do not repeat it. Simply indicate your agreement with it. Furthermore, if you were not sworn in, please remind me and let me do that.
I was sworn in. My name is Anissa, and I am the neighbor, 605.
Can you please
South
give
Main
your
Street.
full name for
Yeah,
me?
Anissa Zaragoza. I live on 605 South Main Street. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. So,
That's fine.
just a couple of things I would like to address as far as the exterior of the property. One of my concerns
Excuse
are
me just a moment. This is to speak in favor
in favor of.
the motion to allow for the short-term rental.
Oh, okay. So will I be able to speak later?
You can, yes.
I'm gonna sit right here. So,
Anyone like to speak in favor? All right, seeing none. Anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Can you please restate your name and address?
yes, Anissa Zaragoza, 605 South Main Street. So yeah, just a couple of problems I have with the exterior. The driveway, we don't have anything block or separating the two properties from each other. So if this is going to be rented out to, anybody, I would like some privacy, some type of privacy fence built in there. And another issue was the tree in the front of the house. That tree has been rotted out for quite some time. I lived on this property since, we moved in 2019. So yeah, that tree right there is pretty rotted out, and it's always losing its limbs, and it's always landing in my property as well as theirs. So, yep, that's all my issues. It's just the separating the driveway, or splitting the properties, and as well as that tree. So, yeah, that's about it. Yep.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in opposition? Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Nancy Barr, live at 519 South Main, in the Bryant House on the opposite corner of Main and Pacific from 601. I'm here to speak not only for myself, but for some of my neighbors who couldn't be here tonight. 3 of them, work schedules wouldn't allow them to be here, and I have concerns about parking, whether putting 2 parking spaces in that part of the property adjacent to the garage is just going to be pretty much paving the backyard because they have a long wheelchair ramp coming out of that. I don't think that's going to look well. And I just can't, it's going to require variance to the code is what I think, but maybe the city knows better on the measurements of it. It just looks to me like it's going to be a lot of the backyard, either with the garage being under roof or the parking being paved there. I know we had to get a variance to the code in order to put in drive that connected our house from Pacific Street over to Main, so I know that can be done, but I just want to make them aware that it might require a variance, I think. And then a personal concern I have, because I've lived across the street to the east of a property at 512 South Main that just recently was sold. And we're all rejoicing because for over 10 years, the property owners there were renting out rooms by the night or by the week or by the month or whatever, and people came and went, and it was a continuous string of different people all the time. And I myself called the police 2 to 3 times a week for most of that 10 years, and it was a nightmare. And so we were so happy when those property owners moved. And now we're hoping that, it's going to be a single family there. Our neighborhood worked about 15 years ago to get the overlay to the zoning to prevent any additional units to go into the homes that are there on Main that don't have rental units in them, and to prevent the properties that set vacant or the units that set unrented for a year or more not to be re-rented, to prevent that from happening. And so that it's not the same thing as what they're doing, but as a former landlord for almost 30 years, I know if you rent and re-rent and re-rent, eventually you're going to get a bad renter in there. And so I don't want to be across the street from a bad renter. I know that they're doing all of these precautions to try and prevent that, but it concerns me that they live out of state and whoever they have as a contact person is unknown to me and maybe lives in Independence, maybe not. I just don't know. So those are the things that concern me about that. And then how can it be regulated if they didn't put in that parking? How can you regulate how many rooms they're renting? How will you know? you know, if they've got 8 people in there, people on the street, when people park on the street, you can legally park right now, the way it's set up on the south side of Pacific, just not on the north. And people do park on the south side Pacific right behind my driveway. It makes it very hard to swing in and come in that driveway there with the stone walls that I have. And the same for several of the other properties going up Pacific. So I think that covered everything I had. I didn't want to try and repeat everybody else's concerns. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you very much. Would the applicant like to come forward and address any of those questions or concerns?
Yes, the management company and the platforms that we use only allow for one primary renter. It would be renting a whole house out for a vacation for a family or a girls' weekend to get together and stuff. So it wouldn't ever have 4 people or 8 people signing leases. It would be one responsible person who signs the rental agreement to vacation in the home for a week or 2, and it would never be more than 28 days max. We would never go more than that because obviously you have some issues with, what's it called, the squatters. So the management company we're using has systems in place on the platform that controls all of that to make sure it doesn't happen. We're putting the parking in. I'm trying to landscape around it and make it beautiful. I want it to be beautiful. I want our guests to enjoy it. The ramp is coming out. The ramp was there for the previous owner who aged in the home. So until we found out whether or not we're getting approval for the short-term rental, we haven't finalized any of the landscaping plans yet. I've met with everybody, a lot of people, and discussed it, what we want to do with the backyard. So there's plenty of yard still left there, and then there's the side yard and the front yard. There's plenty of green space still there.
What about the concern that was raised with division of the yard or the drive?
Well, we're going to apply for a right-of-way curb cut. So I would assume that if the city didn't approve it, then we couldn't move forward. But I don't think that's going to be an issue because there's off-street parking. That's what we're doing, is off-street parking.
All right, any additional questions for her from?
Yes, I'm sorry. The surface of this extra parking, what is that going to consist of?
Oh, it's going to be concrete, and then the retaining wall will probably be the decorative stonework.
Okay. And you said there's going to be landscaping there, but the landscape really wouldn't be there to screen the car, right? It couldn't.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's
a little
correct,
hard
sir.
here. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be at the driveway and the parking area, so we can't put bushes in it or anything like that.
No, but we can put in a little decorative fence in front of it and put some landscaping on that with the steps leading up to the backyard to go into the back entrance.
So you'd be making a fence with a gate?
No.
Is that
No,
what you're
no, no,
saying, or
just-
maybe you're not, I'm not
Excuse me,
understanding.
I kind of was going where you were. The fence will be at the top of the retaining wall
Okay.
so that part will be covered. We're not going to put a gate on the parking spaces.
No, just like a little decorative picket fence or something to help create a little bit of privacy in the backyard and make it more quaint and fit in with the style of the home.
For 2 cars or 3 cars?
I believe they're requiring us to do 2 cars.
Okay. All right.
What about the tree?
So as far as the tree, limbs do fall out of the tree, yes. The picture that y'all were looking at when she was speaking, it looked like it was in the winter because we were out there today and it has leaves all over it.
Okay, yeah, I looked online at looks like, I mean, I couldn't figure out that tree's on your property line, if they're, or their property line, is it down the middle, do you know?
I think it's on our property. The
Yeah, we're looking at the picture now.
It's right on the property.
Yeah, so it is on our property. The actual driveway, I think if you get onto the property map and property lines and everything, the driveway that's on the other side of it, about a foot of it is on our property, but we're not
Oh,
really
okay,
worried
so-
about that, so,
Okay, I understand, okay, so the tree is not dead, is what you're saying,
correct.
okay.
It's old.
It's big.
Oh, yeah, it looks big, so I just didn't want to, the way she talked, it was dead, so I wasn't for sure, I just wanted to make sure.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Staff, do you have anything else to add?
Nothing additional.
All right. All right. Any further questions, commissioners, before I close the public hearing? Okay. I declare this hearing closed.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
just have a question of staff. And maybe I'm missing it. If I am, I apologize, but usually there's a map that shows where the next closest short-term rental is, and I don't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we showed it to you,
Oh, on the thing, but not on our paperwork.
right there. The little S.
They're just outside the
Yeah.
circle. I see it now. So I stand correct?
I mean,
But
the-
it's,
yeah,
that's,
the
how many
corner of that
others,
lot is right.
how many others are there? Do you know?
In-
Which is just that one?
You mean in this vicinity?
Yes.
I didn't construct the map. I don't know how, if I went out, a little farther, how much more would pop up around there, but I don't remember
Okay.
there being any that are particularly close. I know that, we have the bed and breakfast, but down the street there on Nolan, but, actually, I think there might be a short-term rental that was behind that bed and breakfast, if I remember. So a little bit closer to 23rd Street, come to think of it.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, commission members, I will entertain a motion,
Can I make a motion?
please.
Make a motion for approval of case 24-400-16, short-term rental at 601 South Main Street with staff recommendations.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Ready for a roll call?
Commissioner Ashbaugh,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson,
No.
Commissioner Nesbitt,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Commissioner Torres,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
and Chairman Wiley.
Yes. Case number 244016, short-term rental, has been approved. All right, I call up public hearing for case number 244017, short-term rental at 3021 South Ralston Avenue. Staff, may I have your report?
This is a STR for 3021 South Ralston Avenue. Applicant Arnold Nakeda. As you can see from the vicinity map, this is basically near that new elementary school there at Hardy and 31st, yeah. And this is just a block north of that there on Ralston, as you can see on the east side of the road. So here's the floor plan of the house. You can see with the garage there off the living room. Got a primary bedroom, another bedroom there, and then bath, and then a combined kitchen dining area back there in the back there. So, and here's the fire safety plan. Sorry about that being turned on its side. But you can see the pathways to the door in order to leave. And then here's the basement evacuation plan in case of fire in the basement. So here's the parking plan. We have a one-car garage and a paved driveway with one additional vehicle. And then we have a linear frontage out here for at least 2 additional vehicles. Notification area, basically along Ralston, the block just north of 31st Street, and then the homes behind there on the next street on Hedges. Proximity to other rental units. This drawing, as you can see, is a little bit farther out. So, and there's just one SDR there that's east of Sterling. So, background. The applicant seeks approval by the Planning Commission to legally use this property as a short-term rental. As far as the property history, the residential property was platted in 1953 as Lot 290 of the Rockwood Heights Addition. In 1965, the land was zoned to R1, single-family residential. In 1980, the zoning was updated to R1B, still single-family residential. And in 2009, when the current version of the UDO was adopted, the zoning was updated to R6. Zoning of the property has remained unchanged since this code update. The property has been zoned for single-family use since the city's adoption of this ordinance. Physical characteristics of the property. This single-family residence sits on a 7,933 square foot lot. The structure is an 802 square foot. That excludes the garage and the basement. The main floor has a living room, dining area, kitchen, bathroom, and 2 bedrooms. The exterior has a beige siding. It has a 1-car drive that leads to the 1-car garage. Characteristics of the area. Surrounding the subject property features other single-family homes that are similar age, size, and design. To the south of the property across 31st Street lies the Castle Elementary School. Parking, the driveway is 1 car wide in width. The driveway can accommodate 2 vehicles, and the garage can accommodate 1 vehicle. There's enough street frontage to allow for 1 additional vehicle. There's enough parking for 4 vehicles then. As far as unruly guests and security issues, the property owner lives out of state in American Fork, Utah. They have retained services of a realtor located in the Kansas City metropolitan area to serve as the responsible agent for this short-term rental. The applicant has provided a responsible agent as required in the code. Although the applicant has indicated that the unit is not currently equipped with a noise monitoring device, they have indicated plans to install the Alertify noise monitoring device. The applicant will need to provide evidence that this complies with the city code. So short-term rental requirements. Noise monitoring. The applicant will need to provide evidence of the installation of a continuous noise monitoring device. Trash removal. Trash pickup is scheduled as a weekly service on Tuesday and will be picked up by Ted's Trash. Property listing. The property will be listed on Airbnb. Business operations and security. The applicant will oversee site security and general business operations, including screening customers and coordinating bookings. City's short-term rental checklist. The form was completed by the applicant covering licensing, future inspections, insurance, on-site information posting, and so forth. Fire safety. A fire evacuation plan has been submitted along with the floor plans of the house. The fire escape plan must be posted per code requirement. City inspection. The property must be inspected by the fire inspector and pass the initial short-term rental fire and life safety inspection. So here's the house right here with the sign out front. You see the one-car driveway where you could easily get 2 cars in the driveway as well as one in the garage and then one along the street there. This is facing south, looking toward the school. And then across the street to the west and back north up the street. Recommendation. Well, case 24-117, the staff recommends approval of this short-term rental application. The short-term rental application shall obtain a business license pursuant to Chapter 5 of the City Code. Secondly, the short-term rental operator must remit transient guest tax to the city and comply with the operational standards outlined in Article 3, Chapter 5 of the City Code. Number 3, the business must comply with all safety and other standards established by Section 14-424 of the City Code. Number 4, the maximum occupancy of the premises shall be limited to 6 total persons. 5, the maximum number of bedrooms shall be 2. 6, the noise monitoring system shall be installed and activated, meeting the City Code. The good neighbor guidelines, the evacuation plan, and other notices must also be properly posted prior to approval of the business license. 7, the property must be inspected by the fire inspector and pass the initial short-term fire rental and safety inspection prior to issuance of the business license. And that completes this application.
All right, thank you. Would the applicant please step forward, or the applicant's agent, and state your name and address? Sir, that's a low microphone there for you. You can move it up to the next level on the podium there. Thank you very much.
I am Arno Naka. My address is 744 South, 160 West in American Fork, Utah, 84003.
Thank you.
Esteemed Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commission members, thank you for your time, your service to our great city of Independence, Missouri. I'm Arno Naka, as I said, and I own the property located at 3021 South Ralston Avenue in Independence. I'm a father, husband, and businessman, and the business that I've been in for the past 19 years has been real estate, particularly long-term rentals. And I have actively invested for the past 10 years in Kansas City as well as Independence, again for the past decade or so. Provided clean and affordable housing to multiple different families, local families, families moving in from out of state. And proudly, one of the families that I rented to ended up purchasing the home that they rented in Kansas City, Missouri. In Independence, Missouri. Located at Cedar Avenue. During the pandemic of 2020, one of the homes that I owned in Kansas City had a long-term tenant, and for unforeseen reasons, while being managed by a local property management company, the applicant went about 4 months without paying their rent. After 4 months, I asked them for keys in hand and just let him go. After which I realized damage to the tune of $12,000. Not taking care of a property amounts to not taking care of a neighborhood as a homeowner myself. That's when I decided to watch all my properties closely and shift my business model to short-term rentals to have more hands-on approach to managing the portfolio. These homes are monitored by myself and my team weekly, keeping the curb appeal of the property and thus the neighborhood, strictly screening all tenants, as the staff mentioned, and imposing hefty fines in case of violation. I think this is very important. I'm a homeowner myself, and one of my priorities is respecting our neighbors while providing great customer service and hospitality to those that are visiting the area. Hospitality starts at home, and I have been in touch with a handful of my neighbors, namely Donna Seller, who got the notice, as well as Brandon Oliver, and have also shared my direct phone number should there ever be any issues or questions related to the short-term rental. We do monitor the home 24/7 through a Ring doorbell monitoring device, as well as I have what I consider a very strong local team and partners, including Ted's Trash that handles all the trash, Veronica Bolton with cleaning maids, Casey Sheets, who attends to any issues outside, curb appeal, inside issues, as well as Legacy Lawns that keep the curb appeal. That's why I'd like to humbly request your consideration for this request to operate short-term rental in Independence and also as recommended by the staff. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
I do.
Go ahead.
According to the picture, bring your pictures back up there, would you, Brian? I mean, he's harked on curb appeal here several times, and I want to know about that fence line. That yours or not? With all the trees on it?
The one to the left?
Yes.
I believe that's on the neighbor's side of the fence.
Okay. I mean, because you're saying curb appeal, and I look at the one to the right, and it looks good, and I look at yours, and I'm going, well, he's advertising curb appeal, and curb appeal is not that great there, if you ask me. So, I mean, that's why you're sitting there telling us you have good curb appeal, but I'm looking at it's not. I mean, I know it's probably neighbor's fence, but I would still probably have it cleaned up if I was going to want to rent it out, I'm sorry to say. So that's just one thing I'm asking. So the person that's local, their address is in Kansas City?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the monitoring system, no problem?
Yep, 24/7, yes.
Well, you got the Ring. What about what do they call it again?
The alerting
noise, the Newt system?
Yeah, so we are going to be installing it.
Okay.
We've had 2 different devices sent by Alertify that turned out to be defective from the company, so third time is a charm. We're going to be installing it here this week or next week.
Okay, that's all the questions. Thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, just speaking of curb appeal, the curb, is that just an old section of the curb that's in the middle?
The
The darker. The
Under
rest
the
of it's
tree?
absolutely, yes.
Is it an older section? I'm not sure. I know that it might be a little bit dry with the summer. I believe this is a recent picture. Like I said, we do maintain it through Legacy Lawns. Yeah, I believe it might be because of sort of, the summer weather and hot temps that we've had this summer.
Okay, the picture wasn't very clear, so that's why I asked.
So it might be the shadow.
Thank you.
It's an old section there.
All right, any other additional questions for the applicant? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Will those persons who wish to speak in favor of the application please step forward to the podium and give your name and address for the record? Anyone who wishes to speak in favor? All right, anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? All right, hearing none. Staff, any additional items we need to know?
No.
Commission, any final questions?
Madam Chair, I move approval,
Let me close the hearing.
close the hearing. Thank you. Now, I move approval of case 24-400-17, short-term rental at 3021 South Ralston Avenue with the recommendations.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. The roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Ashbaugh,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Yes.
Commissioner Nesbitt,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Commissioner Torres,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Chairman Wiley.
Yes. The motion passes. For case number 2440017, short-term rental at 3021 South Ralston Avenue. Thank you very much. Would anybody like to take a break? Okay, good to continue? All right. Next case on the agenda is case number 2440018, short-term rental, a request by Sean Foster for 4444 South Cottage Avenue. Staff, could you give us a report?
Okay, here on the title page, you can see the vicinity map for the location we're talking about, the 4444 South Cottage Avenue, there where Cottage intersects with US 40 highway. So here we have the floor plan for the home on Cottage. We've got the living room, and we've got 2 bedrooms off to the west with the bathroom in between, and we've got dining and kitchen in the rear, and a family room, and a sitting room off to the side there. So your different places to vacate the home in case of fire, 4 different locations there indicated. And then the parking plan. So we got a paved driveway, room for 2 vehicles they've indicated on their plan. Here's the notification area. So it's where Cottage and 40 Highway come together. So basically, those number of homes for a half a block up that dead-end street, as well as properties to the west abutting a river. And of course, we have businesses located across 40 Highway there. As far as the proximity to the nearest other SDR, you can see the closest one is way over that subdivision tucked in the commercial area off Nolan Road, way east of the railroad track. So closer I-70. So background. The applicant seeks approval by the Planning Commission to legally use this property as a short-term rental. Property history, the residential property, which is Lot 12 of the Cooks Fairview addition, was platted in 1946. In 1965, the land was zoned R1. In 1980, it was renamed R1B, single-family designation as well. In 2009, when the current version of the UDO was adopted, the zoning was updated to R6. Therefore, the property has been zoned single-family since the city's adoption of its development ordinance. As far as the physical characteristics of the property, the single-family home sits on a 21,078 square foot lot. The house is 1,629 square feet. Has a living room, dining area, kitchen, laundry room, family room, sitting room, bathroom, and 2 bedrooms. The exterior has blue siding with a dark wainscot. The property also contains a single-car driveway. Background. characteristics of the area. North and east of the subject property features single-family residences of similar age in ranch home design. Commercial uses lie to the west and then south across 40 Highway. The driveway is a car width wide and provides parking for 3 cars. Another could park in South Cottage Street. However, the driveway is disrepair and must be repaired prior to the issuance of the business license. As far as unruly guests and security issues, the property owner plans to install a minute noise monitoring system. The manager lives 5 minutes away in case of any issues. Short-term rental requirements, well, the noise monitoring issue first. The applicant will need to provide evidence of the installation of minute noise monitoring device. As far as trash removal, the service is scheduled to be weekly, picked up by Ted's Trash Service. Property listing, the property will be listed on Airbnb. Business operations and security, the applicant will oversee site security and general business operations, including screening customers and coordinating bookings. The city short-term rental checklist, the form was completed by the applicant covering licensing, future inspections, insurance, and on-site information, posting, and so forth. Fire safety. Evacuation plan has been submitted along with the floor plans for the house. The escape plan must also be posted per code requirement. City inspection. The property must be inspected by the fire inspector and pass the initial short-term rental, fire, and life safety inspection. So we're looking directly at the house across Union there, framed by those 2 big trees. And then up Union, Union's the next one over, up Cottage there. And then this is the home across the street to the east. And then this is looking back toward 40 Highway, toward the used car dealerships and the other assorted businesses there on the south side of 40. And then this is the large side yard area of this property that abuts 40 Highway. And there's 40 Highway itself. And businesses there along 40. Recommendation, case 24-118. Staff recommends approval. First, the short-term rental shall obtain a business license pursuant to Chapter 5 of the City Code. Second, the short-term rental operator shall remit transient guest tax to the city and comply with the operational standards outlined in Article 3, Chapter 5 of the City Code. Of course, the business must comply with all safety and other standards established by Section 14-424 of the City Code. Fourth item, the maximum occupancy of the premises will be limited to 6 persons total. A maximum number of bedrooms is 2. Number 6, the noise monitoring system shall be installed and activated. And then the good neighbor guidelines, the evacuation plans, and the other notices will have to be posted prior to the business license being issued. Number 7, the property must be inspected by the fire inspector and pass the initial short-term rental, fire, and life safety inspection. And then, unique to this property, the driveway will need to be repaved prior to the issuance of the business license. So,
concludes your report.
Yes.
All right, would the applicant please step forward to the podium and give your name and address?
Chairperson, Brian made a mistake. He said case 24-100 is 24-418. You had it wrong on your report on the screen,
Okay.
so I need to make sure that's correct.
All right, sir, what should, state your name and your address, and then what we should know about this.
Sean Foster, 3909 South Phelps Road in Independence, Missouri, 64055. First thing I want to say is that this property has been in my family, I believe, since probably the 50s. It was literally the first house there before there was anything. So keeping the peace on the street, keeping everything cordial and not having any issues is very important to us. With that being said, like I said, I live 5 minutes from there. I've got quite a bit of experience managing short-term rentals. We have 7 north of the river. So we are very good at screening tenants. We don't allow anybody to just book it like a hotel. Like, you have to go through our screening process. You have to have good reviews. We almost never even allow local people to rent the place due to issues we've had. We don't allow one-night stays, so they got to be coming in for at least a couple days. So I guess my point is we're really good at making sure we don't have people that are going to be causing problems. And if we do, we have cameras, we have noise monitoring devices, and I'm only 5 minutes away. I did have a question about something I saw up there. Can I ask a question?
Address it to me.
Yeah, so it said the maximum, it could only be 2 bedrooms. Was that due to parking, or was that because I messed up on the application?
All right, staff, would you like to address?
If it's because of this picture here, so I use an app to get the blueprints, and it called this room on the far right a sitting room, and I didn't realize that, but it is an actual bedroom. I believe on the application that I filled out, I put 3 bedrooms.
You did. You put 3 bedrooms.
Okay.
Okay, I must have been correcting myself based upon the drawing. Okay, so so that sitting room is a bedroom then?
Yes, it is an actual bedroom.
So he could, under the code, yes, have an additional bedroom, and if you'd want that, that would be fine.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Chairperson,
yes.
question for applicant. Where'd he go?
Not quite.
So you're not the owner?
No, my parents are.
Okay.
I'll be managing it for them.
Okay, and do they see any problems with fixing the driveway?
We don't know yet. We haven't gotten that far. That was news to us tonight.
So you don't know about the recommendations from staff or nothing?
I didn't know about that until I just heard it, so I haven't been able to have that conversation about the driveway. I didn't know about that till just now.
Okay. Have you looked over the other recommendations from staff?
Yes, all those are pretty typical, and yes, all those are fine.
Okay. Do you have other ones here in Independence? Have you been?
No, I
before?
have had one. I sold that house, but I did have one at 3215 Vermont.
Okay. So
And I've also applied for another one that did not get approved, but
Okay.
I do not have any currently
Okay,
in Independence.
thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone who would like to speak in approval of this motion? All right, is there anyone who'd like to speak in opposition of this application? Please state your name and address for the record. Please remember to address all comments and questions to the chair and keep them brief and on point.
Haley Tanavasa, and I live at 4440 South Cottage Avenue. So I'm right next door to the rental property. I'm here tonight. I have two elderly neighbors that weren't able to come. So they wrote letters in opposition. So I came to, they live at 4441 South Cottage Avenue and 4445 South Cottage Avenue. And they were in opposition. But my personal opinion, I'm just kind of on the fence. One concern I have is I have dogs, so that could be a concern for the Airbnb business, is that my dogs might bark at them, but maybe a privacy fence would allow the guests to have more privacy there. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Foster, would you like to come and address any concern or questions?
As far as the dogs, I mean, you know, whether there's a homeowner living there or whether there's a regular tenant living there, I mean, you know, if you got dogs and they're next door and they're behind your fence, I mean, there's not much people can say, you know, or complain about if they're barking. You know, I highly doubt. I'm not worried about me getting complaints from guests about the barking dogs, and I know that they wouldn't, you know, as long as they're on that side of the fence, I don't see any issues with that, you know, as long as they're not free to roam, you know, free to roam wild outside of the fence. I don't see any issues with that.
Okay. Any questions?
I do have a question.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be sure. So you're just seeing the recommendations the city made tonight, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you anticipate any problem with meeting those recommendations?
No,
All right.
I don't.
Just want to make sure you understood.
Yeah. No, I don't see any issue with them.
Good deal. Thank you.
All right.
Anyone else to speak in opposition? Okay, staff, anything else we should know?
No, I just mentioned that the staff report with conditions was emailed out to the applicant on the email that was provided, so.
Right. I'm going to close this public hearing.
I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I make a motion for approval of case 24-400-18, short-term rental at 444 South Cottage with staff recommendations with the changes on number 5 to 3 bedrooms and the changes on number 4 to, would that be 8 people then possible, total?
I mean, it would still be limited to 8 because
Right. Right, 'cause we go to
you could
3
have 2 kids in
Right.
addition to the.
So we need to make those changes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Staff, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Ashball. Commissioner Ferguson.
Yes.
Commissioner Nesbitt.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill.
Yes.
Commissioner Torres. Yes. Commissioner Young.
Yes.
And Chairman Wiley.
Yes. The motion passes. Case number 24400-18, short-term rental at 4444 South Cottage Avenue. Thank you very much. Our final case for the night. Case number 24400-19, a short-term rental. A request by Sadie Redmond at 2311 South Norwood Avenue. Staff, would you give us a report?
Yes. This application, as you can see from the vicinity map on the title page here, is an address right south of 23rd Street. They're on Norwood on the east side. So first is a Picture of the floor plan, Norwood being up top there. The two-car double long driveway, two-car garage, and then a passing lane going back to accessory structure out back. And then 2 bedrooms with a bathroom up front, living room, and then the kitchen on the back side of the house there. And then the evacuation plan showing the 2 entries through the back as well as out the front door there. And then the parking plan is just showing that same driveway again, the attached garage, the bypass going back to the accessory garage out in the rear. Here's the notification area. So most of them along that block of Norwood on both sides, and then some homes on Scott on the next block over. And this nearest STR photograph has a few more than the previous. You can see one southwest of the intersection of Sterling and 23rd, another over just past the railroad tracks. They're off 23rd behind Chrysler Stadium, and then 2 more that are close together, obviously previous to our current separation requirements. So, background. The applicant seeks approval of the Planning Commission to legally use the property as a short-term rental. As far as property history, this residential property, which is the south half of Lot 60 and the north half of Lot 61 of the Inglewood Park addition, was platted in 1924. In 1965, the land was zoned R2, 2-family residential. In 2009, when the current version of the UDO was adopted, the zoning was updated to R12, 2-family. Therefore, the property has been zoned for 2-family residential since its adoption, since the ordinance adoption. Of course, R12 allows for both 2-family and single-family within that zoning. Physical characteristics of the property. The single-family residence sits on 16,040 square feet lot. The structure is 1,148 square feet, which excludes the garage. The house has a living room, dining room, kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, 2 bedrooms, and a 2-car garage. The exterior has off-white siding, and the property also contains a 2-car accessory garage. As far as characteristics of this neighborhood, the area surrounding the subject property features single-family residences of similar age of ranch and bungalows designed houses. Parking, the driveway is 2 car widths wide and then wraps around the north side of the house, extending to the 2-car accessory garage, providing more parking spaces than the 4 needed. Short-term rental requirements. As far as noise monitoring, the applicant will need to provide evidence of the installation of the Minute device monitoring system. Trash removal, pickup is weekly on Wednesday by Ted's Trash Service. Property listing, the property will be listed both on Airbnb and VRBO. Business operations and security, the applicant will oversee site security and general business operations, including screening customers and coordinating bookings. The city's short-term rental list, the form was completed by the applicant covering licensing, future inspections, insurance, and the on-site information posting. Fire safety, and a fire evacuation plan had been submitted with the floor plans for the house. The escape plan must also be posted as code requires. City inspection, the property must be inspected by the fire inspector and pass the initial short-term rental fire and life safety inspection. So we're looking at the house here, east. And then looking north up the street, back toward 23rd Street. And then this is the little bungalow across the street. And then this is looking south down the street. As far as a recommendation for this, and again, I know it should say 800, not 100. Staff recommends approval of the short-term rental application, or 400, not 100. Number one, the short-term rental shall obtain a business license pursuant to Chapter 5 of the City Code. Number two, the short-term rental operator shall remit transit guest tax to the city and comply with the operational standards outlined in Article 3 and Chapter 5 of the City Code. Number three, the business must comply with all safety and other standards established by Section 14.424 of the City Code. Number four, the maximum occupancy of the premises shall be limited to 4 persons total. The maximum number of bedrooms shall be 2. The noise monitoring system shall be installed and activated. And then the good neighbor guidelines, evacuation plan, other notices must be properly posted prior to the approval of the business license. And number 7, the property must be inspected by the fire inspector and pass the initial short-term rental fire and life safety inspection. And so that concludes that staff report as well.
All right, thank you. Would the applicant please step forward? State your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name's Deshaun Amua, and I live at 11001.
Would you do me a favor and pull that microphone up?
Yeah. You want it up here?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
But I live at 11001 East 24th Street, and we applied for that as an Airbnb. We own 4 houses in that strip right there on that street, so we have control over the landscaping and beauty of that. The property was vacant, and so we give it a fresh remodel and gonna make it a short-term rental.
All right. Anything else we need to know about it?
No.
All right. Thank you.
We are, I do want to say that we have zero tolerance for partying. The place will be video monitored, and any partying will be, they'll be kicked out immediately from the premises.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Is there anyone who'd like to speak in favor of this motion? Anyone? All right. Is there anyone who'd like to speak in opposition of this? Seeing none?
Wondering why we're here, we're caught up in your case number frenzy. We have 100-19. Notice to be here this evening, and so we're not 24-400-19. We were sitting here for 24-100-19 with a letter here for tonight's meeting. So that's why I'm not standing up in opposition or favor. If you're wondering why in the world am I still here,
All right.
I'm in the case number deal.
All right. I apologize. As soon as we wrap this up, I will ask city staff to speak to you. Thank you. All right.
Well,
Commission, any questions for staff?
well, do we have a problem here? Do we not get the proper information sent out and we need to postpone this one? Staff?
That's what I'm going to say.
There was another case that was supposed to be scheduled tonight with that number. She might be talking about the Jim Pollard case that was continued.
Oh, 112?
That was continued to September the 10th. All right, thank you for that clarification. Staff?
Wait a minute. I want to verify what hers says. Could you bring your letter up to staff? No problem.
This is the one from Mr. Pollard.
Yes. Yeah, his case was continued. So
Was that just continued tonight, or?
he mailed this in July, so I think he's going to mail a new letter, actually.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for that clarification. Regarding case number 400-19, Commissioners, any additional questions? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing.
I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead, sir.
Make a motion to approve case 24-400-19, short-term rental for 2311 South Norwood Avenue with staff recommendations.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Staff, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Ashbaugh,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Yes.
Commissioner Nesbitt,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill,
Yes.
Commissioner Torres,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
and Chairman Wiley.
Yes. Case number 24-400-19 passes. Thank you very much. And that leads us to roundtable. Commissioner, anyone? Let's start with you, Pepe. Anything for the good of the commission? No?
No.
Commissioner O'Neill? Mr. Young, welcome.
Thank you.
Anything to add?
I'm good.
All right. Mr. Nesbitt?
No.
Vice Chair? Virginia, anything to add?
Nothing. Nothing to add.
All right. I just have a quick thing to add. One is thank you for your confidence in the vote to allow me to be chair. I look forward to working with each of you. Second, expect a phone call. I would love to meet with each of you individually and get to know one another better as we serve alongside each other and know what's important to each of us. And three, we are going to do a little bucking up on rules of order. And so I ask for your participation in that as we make sure that we are following Robert's rules, that we are maintaining decorum, and that you would, if you would please, complete the study work from the Mid-America Regional Council. Commissioner Torres and I have both completed it. It contains a lot of great reminders on the way a commission should run. And so I think it will really help us as we continue to do good work on behalf of the citizens and of the city. So now we turn it over to Mr. Aurora, and special thank you yet again personally to Cindy McLean.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. And again, welcome, new Commissioner Michael Young. Thank you for being here, and obviously if you have any questions for us, we're here to answer those. I did want to take this moment and this opportunity. I didn't want to steal any thunder from the mayor earlier. So just for Cindy, and letting her know that myself, along with Brian, Gabe, and the entire Community Development Department, that we do appreciate and give you your sincerest thank you for the nearly 9 years, since 2015, if people don't know, on serving in this commission, and her wisdom and thoughtful consideration on every case that she has brought to this body, and we will indeed miss her. And so with that, we did have another plaque, which is the standard plaque that we give to commissioners. So I did want to present that to her.
Thank you. I feel like I should say it, but from the mic, not just like whatever. But thank you, everybody. This is overwhelming and very, very kind, and it's been really fun to watch from this side.
And let's eat some cupcakes. All right, sir.
So just a couple more things. The next meeting, as Commissioner or Vice Chair Ashbaugh mentioned, will be a fairly significant one. This is the Inglewoods Arts District. It's the only case that we have. We suspect that it will be a full house, so it's probably going to be a long meeting. I just kind of want to let you guys know that. The meeting after that is probably going to have maybe 10 cases on it. As you guys might be aware, we've kind of been doing some shuffling with cases to make sure we only had this one case at the next meeting. And with that, we do have some cupcakes and some fake champagne over there to celebrate with Cindy. So
All right.
thank you.
I adjourn our meeting.
Cupcakes and champagne, huh?